Okay, here we go. All right. Hi, good morning, everyone. Just want to welcome everyone to the Fit 5136 Software Engineering, and this is week three. Today, we will talk about requirement analysis. What is the user stories? How can we assess the quality of the user stories using the inverse principles for each of the user story? How can we estimate the story point, that kind of thing, and how to write the acceptance criteria, definitions of done, and the usability design principles. Okay, so this the content for this week is designed to align with the assessment one, and that means for the assessment one you already received the client requirement, and then given that requirement you need to come up with what is the user story, what is the benefit of each of the feature, that kind of thing, and we'll go through about today, together. And yep, okay. And so again, this is a high level overview of the unit. All right. As I already mentioned, right now we are on the requirement engineering phase. Last week we talked about the agile project management, and then at the beginning of the agile process, we need to elicit the requirement by the product owner. As a product owner, you need to talk to the business stakeholder, elicit the requirement, come up with what are the user stories, and then prioritize the work log, the work items within the backlog, that kind of thing. Okay. So this is just want to highlight where we are. Okay, we are just at the beginning, and then we will have lectures for every week until the end of the agile process. So what I mean is that the unit is really designed to align with the modern agile project management, agile software development process. All right, so it is quite streamlined, it is very well designed. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask anytime. All right. Okay, so basically I think the first question that we should ask everyone, right? So what exactly is the requirement, and what is the good quality, what how can we determine whether the requirement is actually good or not, right? And whether it is useful or not. All right, so basically requirements by the definition, it will determine whether your software is complete or correct or not. Okay, so it is like the description, that kind of thing, and normally they are collected or elicited by the product owners. Okay, the product owner is one of the role within the agile software development team, or it can be determined by the business analyst as well. So this is like a traditional software development team. Okay, so there will be like a business analyst team, and then or the product owner role. Okay, so basically they need to talk to the stakeholder, to the client. Hey, what are the things that we need to do? What are the features or the functionality of the software system? Okay, for example, the tax office can determine whether your GST or payroll tax computations are correct or not, not only your client. So remember that the team advise the product owner. Team can come up with some of the requirements too. So let's say within the team, when the product owners talk to the stakeholder, they need to identify what is a tax calculator table, that kind of thing, and then the development team can discuss with the product owner to come up with their own features as well. Okay, that kind of thing, but at the end of the day, what we would talk about the prioritization. Not we would talk, we actually had talked about that using the Moscow principles, right? And but at the end of the day, the requirements should be prioritized based on the values from the customer point of view. Okay, not from the developer's point of view. What do I mean is that, let's say, dev team said, oh yeah, I think we should develop the login feature first, but the customer said, no, we need some tax calculator application as soon as possible. So the tax calculator application should be the first priority rather than the login feature. You know what I mean? Yeah. So customer comes first. All right. And when we determine the requirement, when we describe or document the requirement in the software requirement specification, right, it actually helps the team or software developers or the product owners to determine whether the implementation is actually correct or not, right? Based on the behavior that we actually describe in the document, that kind of thing. Okay, and when we have a requirement, at the beginning it may be really vague, but later on you have as a product owner, you have to gradually incrementally make it clear. Okay, every iteration, make it really clear as much as possible so that the development team can actually develop it, right? And how can we ensure that the requirement is actually met, right? So that's why each of the requirement must be tested, okay? And it should be tested, and we'll talk about the definitions of done in the later slide as well, okay? So basically, yeah, we need the requirement, and each of the requirement needs to be tested, and then so we can consider that that requirement is actually done, okay? Requirements in the traditional process model. This is what happened in the past. Like when you use the waterfall model, there is a requirement phase, and then what happened is that you try to write the requirements in the requirement documentation, in the requirement document as much as possible, okay? And in the more detail as much as possible before the development process actually starts. Okay, and that's why this is what happened in the past. But sometimes in real world scenarios, we really don't know what the actual software will be until we actually implement it, right? We gradually improve and deliver the working software incrementally. So that's why the modern requirement engineering process is totally different from the traditional one. All right. So in the past, right? In the past, this is what happened. When you elicit for the waterfall model, you have the requirement document, requirement specification as like a agreement or the contract. It is something in the middle, it is the document that communicate between the business analyst and the software engineers. All right. So this is something in the middle. And what happened is that there will be less communication. So potentially it could create some misunderstanding, misconception, that kind of thing, because waterfall model is like a phase, it's not like iterative at all. And one iteration is really long, right? Because we cannot go back to the requirement anymore. Differently, okay? In the modern software development process where we use AGIs, everyone sits together, discuss together between developers, the product owner, or the stakeholder. They discuss the requirement within the team before they actually start the sprint. Okay, they want to make it clear first. Okay, at the beginning of the sprint, this is the requirement. What the software will be. How does it look like? What are the features that we are going to implement first? We prioritize everything. Okay, yeah, we need to. At the beginning, they need to break it down into the small work items, and then they will prioritize which one we are going to do first, and then they can start the sprint. This is nowadays. And the ideas, the agile approach to the requirement nowadays is that what happened is that it is very hard, as I mentioned to you before, it is very hard to determine the complete sets of the requirements in advance, because we don't know what it will be or whether we need it or not, right? And the good thing of using Agile is that we always get the stakeholder involved as much as possible, and the product owner will act as a client between the development team and the stakeholder. Okay, they try to, and the key goal of the Agile is that they try to get something running as quickly as possible, right? Do you remember working software over comprehensive documentation? That's one of the Agile values, and that's why during the when we use the Agile process, we don't need to really have like a comprehensive documentation. We don't need to write down everything, but we need just enough documentation, just enough requirement or description that actually helps the developer to implement something, right? And then the product owners will pick up which feature that need to be implemented for this sprint. They will prioritize based on the customer or client preference. Okay. And yeah, the key goal of the Agile is that they really focus on the values, right? think about as I give you an example before. Let's say if we want to implement an e-commerce platform, okay, there is two features between login feature and the shopping cart feature. Which one delivers more values to the customer, right? So probably should be the shopping cart, right? Not the login feature at all. Okay, so that's why we focus on the most the most valuable features first as the top priority. Yep, that's the requirement engineering within the agile process. Okay, and this is aligned with the values, right? They really focus on the collaboration among the team, okay, between the stakeholder, rather than the exhaustive documentation. Remember, okay, don't forget this one. They focus on, and that means within the team there is a customer representative, okay, on site as well to help and work with the developers. The product owner, they don't need to write down everything in details because this is the agile. We really want to focus on deliver the working software rather than the comprehensive documentation. But my question to everyone is that, does it mean that the agile approach doesn't need to write anything? No, right? Because development team needs something, okay, but it doesn't need to be like extremely detailed, okay. So that's the agile approach. And because agile approach, they focus on the short and concise requirement. They focus on the value. That's why they come up with the new term, okay? The format is called user story. User story is a short description of something that a user would want to do with the system, okay? And each user story should describe a feature that actually adds the value, all right? So, for example, okay, this is actually from the Ken Beck, from the extreme programming, that kind of thing. Okay, user story. I should okay, I have a few more slides as well. And what I mean is that when we write the user story, let's say if we want to create an e-commerce system, right? Okay, online shopping. The theme can be say, yeah, this is our vision. We want to develop the next generation of the e-commerce system that with the first e-commerce platform that allows that accept Bitcoin payment, that kind of thing. Okay, this is an examples of the theme. Okay, what are the features? Bitcoin payment gateway, shopping cart whatsoever, and the login feature. And then you can write the user story to describe what is the value, what is the feature. For example, as a customer, as the next generation, the new generation customer, I want to purchase products using Bitcoin so that I can reuse the money from my cryptocurrency wallet, that kind of thing. This is an example, okay? And then given that user story, then you can break down into the small tasks. For example, for each of the user story, you need to provide the details. What are the business rules? What is the acceptance test? What is the UI prototype? About the crypto payment, what is the activity diagram? For example, user must log in first to blah 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 blah. First, they need to put the username and the password. They go to the crypto payment gateway, put the amount, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. Two-factor authentication whatsoever. So that's the activity diagram. How the users, what is the activity between the user, how the users interact with the software system. Okay, we will talk about the diagrams later on in the week 5. And when you write the user story, there are some attributes that you need to align as well. Okay, it's called INVEST principles. Okay, so it stands for independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, small, and testable, understandable as well. Okay, I also forget to mention that when in the high level structure here, you have the theme, the feature, the theme, the feature, the user story, and the details that are aligned with the user story. This is really depends on the granularity level that you really want to describe, right? Okay, theme can be, hey, as I mentioned to you before, we want to develop the world first e-commerce platform that accept cryptocurrency. Okay, and there are a bunch of features within this system, and there are a bunch of the user stories within the system. It really depends on the granularity level or the scope that you want to go into the detail. All right, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure that the user story is aligned with the invest principles. It should be small, it should be independent, it should be negotiable, that kind of thing. I will explain later on. Okay. All right, what exactly is the user stories? Okay, user story is actually a short description of something that user want to do, and each story will describe a feature that actually adds value. It is an agile requirement document. Okay, it is a requirement documentation for the agile approach. Basically, for the agile process, we really want to focus on the collections of the user story, because one user story describes the benefit of each of the features as well. All right, and what is the format? Right, so let me think. What is the format? Here's the format. Okay, there is a template. So basically, the user story should be a succinct description of actions a user would want to do with the system, and it is written in the following structure. As a user, okay, I want to, what is the goal, so that what is the benefit. All right, as a user, okay, I want to do something, what is the goal, so that the benefit. Then, okay, so this is an example. As a wiki user, I want to upload a file to the Wikipedia so that I can share these files with my colleagues, my friends, to the public community. As a customer, I would like the system to not corrupt the database. This is not a good user story. Okay, because why? Because when we say as a customer, I would like the system to not corrupt the database, it means that it is written in the negative sentence. That means we want the system not to do this, but what do we want the system to do? We never say that. So this is not a good example. All right. As a survey participant, I want an indication of progress so that I know how much I have left to complete. We know what is the feature, the indications of the progress. We know what is the value and why, what is the benefit. So I know, right, how much I have left to complete. Okay. That's why we need to learn about the invest principles. And what is the invest principles? The good user story should be independent. That means they are self-contained. They can stand alone. Okay. It should be negotiable. That means they can be changed. They are easy to change, or it can be discarded or be replaced as well. All right. Third, it should be valuable. Right. Valuable, it means that it describes something that the end user actually cares about. It should be estimable. Okay. That means it should be sufficiently well understood, well defined, that the team can estimate how long they will take to implement. Do you know what I mean? Okay. Let's say if we write the user story that I want a payment gateway. Okay. It's too broad, right? Too big. It's not small enough, and we cannot really estimate as well, because one payment gateway system could be 100 features. Okay. Small, it should be small enough to be able to confident about the estimate. Okay. Small here, it means that we should that user story should be able to move around or finish within one sprint. Okay. It should not take longer than one sprint. Otherwise, it will be considered as too big. Okay. It should be testable, and that there must be a step to test as well whether the user story is complete or met or not. Okay. This is the invest principle. All right. Independent, what does it mean? Okay. User story should not depend closely on the other user story. That means we are able to move around. Okay. I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say as a customer, the user should be able to buy Tim Tam, okay, after they log in, that kind of thing. Okay, Is that independent? No, because they can buy the Tim Tam when how can I say, they can buy the Tim Tam only after they log in. So it depends on the login feature. It is dependent on the other feature, and it's not a good user story at all for this one. Okay, this is an example. Negotiable. The user story can always be modified, extended, and deleted, right? As the team and the product owner learn more about the project for every sprint, we need to adapt to change. That's the agile value. So, yeah, it should not be something that is too hard or be a blocker for the sprint backlog as well. All right, that's a negotiable. Variable. For the user story, it should describe the values to the customer. Okay, otherwise that feature would not be like highly valuable user story. Okay, an example like this one, right? As a customer, I would like the system to not corrupt the database. What is the value here? It doesn't describe anything, so this is not a good one, right? Okay. Yep, valuable. And estimable, it means that we are able to estimate the effort for each of the user story as well. It should not be like too large or too big, okay? And it should be small enough. It should not be too large. That means it should fit within the sprint, okay? And we are able to accurately estimate the story point for that user story, okay? Easily as well. And a rule of thumb here is that a single user story, shouldn't take more than 50% of the effort on the sprint, okay? And if your story is too big, you should consider breaking it down into a smaller one, all right? Okay? And the last thing, okay, invest principle, the T, it should be testable. Otherwise, we wouldn't know whether the user story is met or not, okay? And if you cannot test the user story, we will not know at all whether it is actually done or not, okay? And yep, and yeah, later on we will talk about the test-driven development as well. But okay, as usual, this is the first half of the lecture, the first half hour of the lecture, and just want to check whether everyone understand the concepts of the user stories or not. Let's do some poll everywhere together. So please go to the pollev.com/fit5136. All right. I am going to activate the poll. Okay, present. Can everyone see? Okay. Yep. Can everyone see the poll? Okay. Go to the poll ev.com/fit5136. Okay, we received some response now. All right, very good. Drop the link. Sure. Okay, we got 25 responses now. Okay, what should be the answer then? All right. Don't change the answer, okay? There's nothing right, nothing wrong. You just need to, just, yeah, keep it going, all right? So I'm gonna review the, the response, all right? Let me think. Okay, So which of the following is an example of an epic? Okay. First of all, epic is not the user story, and the user story is not an epic. It is different thing. Okay. Epic is a more high level, or the group of the user story is like the more high level. All right. That means definitely not A and the C. Okay. Oh dear. Okay. So the answer, okay, definitely not A and the C. Okay, because A and the C is the user story. We write in the more template there, okay, as something, I want to do something so that blah blah blah. Okay, that's the user story, A and the C. The dog optimize the page load time. Okay, looks like an epic, but it's not really an epic because it doesn't really describe what the feature will be. You know, this is more like a non-functional requirement, and just an action that, yeah, we need to optimize the page load time, but what how optimize is optimal, we really don't know, right? So it is really unclear. What is clear here, which should be considered as an epic, is the choice B, okay? Because it clearly say that, yeah, we want to implement a payment gateway system, okay? That's an epic, the high level feature. This is about the payment gateway system, and there will be a bunch of the user stories that are aligned with the payment gateway system. For example, API connection, that kind of thing, blah blah blah, that whatsoever, okay? I'm not in the financial domain, so I don't know. All right, so the correct answer should be the choice B, okay? All right, next. Yep, next one. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, no problem at all. Now, the real deal. Okay, what is the user story? Yep. What is the user story? So we got a question in the Zoom chat, okay? So non-functional requirement cannot be an epic. Not really. It doesn't mean that it cannot be an epic, okay? But I would say that the epic should be the feature that is written in a more that is when it is written, it should be implementable, okay? It should be understandable by the developers. Let's say for that one, optimize the page load time, okay? Yes, but how to implement it? What is the feature, right? No one knows, and no one can actually implement it. But let's say if we call an epic that implement the implement the new infrastructure, something that actually can improve the page load time, that kind of thing, yeah, then that might be something that is more understandable, and it should be called as an epic, okay? Does epic represent the theme? I think it's quite similar, I would say, okay? But I would not call it, I would say no, okay? Epic is not the theme, and the theme is not the epic. I will talk about that later on as well, okay? Epic is just the group of the user stories, okay? I would say that is like the feature level, all right? That's the epic. The theme could be something higher level, okay? And the theme can have like multiple features, okay? So epic is smaller than the theme, yeah. And I would not say that the epic represents the theme, okay? Yeah. Okay, back to the poll, all right? What is a user story? 4 choices here, and the answer should be choice A, okay? It is the narrative description of a software feature from the user perspective, because when we write the user story, we say as something, I want blah blah blah, okay? Yeah, thank you. Okay, next one. Well done. What is a user story? Next one. Who typically writes user story? By the project managers, by the developers, by the designers, or cross-functional teams, including users, product owners, and the developers who write the user stories. Who write the user story? All right, let's take a look at the answers. Okay, so the correct one, because user stories are more like, you know, agile approach, and we work together. Collaboration should be the first priority. That means the choice D-Dog, cross-functional teams should be the right answer. Okay, yep, should be the choice D. Okay. All right, next. Okay, what does the term story point refers to in agile estimation? Okay. Okay, this one not yet. I need to talk about the story point estimation first. Okay. All right, no worries at all. Let's continue. Okay, but before I continue, just want to check if anyone has any question. Feel free to ask. Go for it. If not, then I am going to continue. Okay. All right. Story point estimation, right? So if you're when we estimate the what do you mean when you say implementation? It has to be something new, right? Implementation. You mean like the new feature like that? Yeah. So I would say that we will talk about this part later as well. Okay. When we write the user story, normally yes, it should be the new feature. Okay. But in real world software development practices, sometimes in the Trello board, you know, it could be a mix of the user story, it could be a mix of the task, a mix of the bug report, that kind of thing. It's just what exists in the Trello. Okay, it should be the work item, and the work item can be anything. It can be either user story, the task, or the bug report. It's just the task, the work item that the team need to prioritize which one that they need to work on it first. Okay, so I'm not too sure when what do you mean by the implementation here. Okay, but what I want to say here is that the user story, normally we consider them as a new feature rather than the bug report. Okay, but within the Trello board, it can be either one of them. It can be the new feature which is written in the user story format. It can be like a task which is a smaller work item, or it can be a bug report that is something that is let's say critical, that someone need to fix it as soon as possible before we release before we finish the next sprint, that kind of thing. Okay. Yep. All right, back to this one, story point estimation, right? So what happened is that, you know, if you want to be able to deliver the software on time, you will need to be able to figure it out. How long does it take, right, to build each of the feature? What is the cost? How much does it cost? That's why we call it estimation. If you cannot estimate, you will not know, you know, how long does it take to complete this feature? How long does it take to complete the project? And then you will not know how many man hours or work hours are required, and you cannot estimate the cost, and then you will be in trouble later on, you know, because this feature may be $1,000, but later on it took like millions. So who's gonna cover the rest, you know? So that's why story point estimation is really, really important. But to accurately estimate the story point is not easy at all, you know. And there are different framework, okay, to do. Estimation is really hard. One good way to know how long a job will take is to look at how similar jobs have taken in the past. Let's say in the past previous project, we developed this login feature. It took like a week. Probably within the new project here, we use the historical data or the past experience to estimate, right? Okay, probably the login feature for the new product may take 1 week as well. And this kind of past experience will work well, okay? This is an example, okay? It also works well for the jobs like bricklaying or tiling as well. Let's say you want to build bathroom. How long does it take? Basically, they just calculate based on the square meter, right? I can usually lay 6 square meter of ceramic tile in a working day, okay? And this customer has 42 square meters of the ceramic floor to lay. So at the end, they just divide, right? They can roughly estimate that with the 42 square meters, it should take like 7 days of work, okay? This is an example based on the past estimate, and then they just multiply by the man hour. But most of the time we rarely write the same software twice, right? Because if we implement one one e-commerce platform, would you implement another e-commerce platform that actually be to each other? Probably no. Okay, so that's why sometimes experience help, but sometimes it doesn't help as well. And the simple view here is that we sometimes we use the lines of code, okay, estimate by the lines of code in an hour. For one developer, they may write, let's say, 100 lines of code per hour. Given this kind of feature, we can estimate, how many lines of code that are required. Then we can estimate the man hour based on that, the amount of lines of code as well, okay? And this, what I mean is that there are different schemes, there are different ways to estimate the effort, and sometimes we need to account for not just the code, but we should account for the some emerging problems, some bug fixing. Do we need to write the unit test? Do we need to draw the diagrams? We need to handle the change in the specification, that kind of thing as well, so there are some variations and there are other factors that can impact the developer's productivity, okay? But yeah, lines of code is one way, past experience is one way, and but there is no single or the right or wrong approach, okay? It really depends, okay? And when we do the estimation, okay, traditional approach, okay, they may say, okay, this feature, it may take like a week, okay, 7 days. Another feature may take like 2 weeks, 14 days, that kind of thing. This is this is called absolute estimation, okay, because we give the exact amount about how many hours or how many days that are required to complete a task. But another estimation scheme or technique is called relative estimation, okay? So let's say the basic feature, home page, it will take me a day to implement, okay? We're gonna call it 1 day. But for the other feature, it may take like twice of the time to implement the home page. This is called relative, so that's why later on we call it user story, okay? User story, it is another relative scheme. Sorry, not user story, the story point, okay? Yeah, but okay, I will talk about it later on, okay? Absolute estimate turned out to be less accurate than the relative estimate because when you give the absolute amount, right, sometimes it's not really like, it depends on how precise you are, okay? If someone say, yeah, this one will take like 7.53 hours, like, do we really need like 0.53, that kind of thing, but at the end of the day, that's why people tend to use the relative estimate, okay? That means how many times that are required to complete this task when compared to the other one, okay? Is it like double the work or triple the work, that kind of thing, okay? And yeah, estimation is really hard. Okay, the team doesn't have a complete control over the project and its environment. There are lots of circumstance changes, like for example, executive change, the organization change, people leave the team, developers turn over, new junior developers joining, that kind of thing. So there are lots of factors that can impact the estimation, and at the end of the day, we still need the estimation anyway, just to want to make sure that to measure the velocity or the progress of or the speed of the development timeline, whether we are on track or not, or we are behind, or we are quite much ahead of the time, right? Okay, and this is another reasons why estimation is really hard, because there are some human bias as well. For example, experienced developers may say, oh, a login feature I can finish like in 1 hour. Okay, but for the junior developers, they may say, oh, sorry man, this is like a week effort for me. So it is really depends on the experience, depends on the bias, it depends on the skill of the developers, that kind of thing. So what I want to say here is that there's no right or no wrong approach. Okay, it really depends on the team, and as I mentioned to you before, it's about the precision is as well, how much precise that you want to be. Sometimes if you want to be really precise, it will not happen in real world, right? Because sometimes we estimate 10.56 hours. Like, what do you mean like 5-6? Okay, yeah, okay. That's why because there are lots of challenge in the estimation, people tend to use the story point scheme instead. Okay, and most of the agile team estimate using the with the size of the user story in the story point format. Okay, the story point scheme. It does not correspond to the clock time. It doesn't correspond to anything. It just corresponds to the unit of the amount of work, the base unit that someone required to complete the task. Okay. For example, and how can I say? This is an example of the scheme. Okay. They tend to use the Fibonacci value to represent the story point. What I mean is that, okay, this is a predefined value. Let's say implement a home page. We will need like one story point. Okay. If I want to implement a login feature, I may take 3 story points, because I feel that this the login page may take like 3 times much work than the home page, that kind of thing. Okay, so what I mean in conclusion is that the story point is the unit times of the base, one story point, that kind of thing. Okay, so Fibonacci, this is a value that people tend to use: 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, and 89. Okay, but in general, people don't use like large number, right? Because let's say when you have a large number, it is very hard to move around, and it may sit like for a while. Okay, what does it mean by 21 story point? It may take like 2 sprints to complete that one. And if you think about the invest principles, this one may be considered as too large to be considered as a user story, right? So that's why you should break it down. With the 21 story point, can you really break it down into the smaller one? What is inside the 21 story point? That kind of thing. Does it make sense to everyone? Okay. Another scheme, okay, instead of using the story point, we can use like a t-shirt size estimation scheme as well. For example, small, medium, large, and the extra large, right? So small represents a few hours of work, medium represents a day or so, okay? Large represents a week or so, and extra large represents something that is bigger than a week, okay? And what else? User story, T-size, planning poker. Okay. Another thing I want to emphasize here is that let me think. I want to mention about the velocity. Okay, I will talk about that. Yep, I have the slide. Story point and the user story. Yeah. So this is only the scheme. Okay. You can use either user story or the t-shirt size. And if you find that your backlog is full of the large point like LXL story, it means that you are not really breaking down your stories into like something finely enough before the sprint planning. Do you know what I mean? As I mentioned to you before, let's say if you feel that, yeah, we want to implement a gateway system, yes, the story point will be 89, and it sits like that for like 3 sprints. This is not a really good planning, right? Because we really don't know what is inside that user story of the 89, okay? Do you know what I mean? That's why we need to break it down into the smaller item. Make sure that it can be moved around within a day or so, that kind of thing, yeah? And then you can see the progress of the team every day, move nicely, yep? But you know, if your user story are nearly all small point, then you may be like breaking them down too finely. Let's say, okay, one sprint you have a budget of the 100 story point, and then you have like 100 user story. Each of them is 1 story point. That is probably too much or not, right? Otherwise, if that is the case, then you will see like too many activities happen in the day. You know, probably too much. So it depends on your team, okay? You need to use like your own team, your own culture, your own judgment to decide what is the right approach for your team. Yeah, there's nothing right, nothing wrong. But at the end of the day, what I mean is that it should not be like 100 of the extremely small story point, but it should not be like just one single extremely large user story. You know what I mean? That's not a really good planning strategies. But because, you know, different developers have different experience and their own judgment, and within the team, they may estimate differently, okay, the story point differently. That's why there is another approach. It's called planning poker. Planning poker is like a game, okay? A gamified technique for estimate the user story. It is designed to avoid the disagreement among the team. They just want to make sure that at the end, everyone agrees with the same story point for that user story. Okay, that's called planning poker. And what happened? Okay, how does it work? Is that first, you know, customer read the story. Okay, and the team can estimate. Okay. Developer A say 1 story point, developer B say 1 story point, developer C say 50. Okay, 50, because, you know, we need to get the team and the product owner together. Each participant get a deck, okay, a card. They vote for the story point. But if there are too much difference of the story point, they need to discuss among the team and repeat the estimation again until they reach the consensus. Do you know what I mean? Okay, this is a planning poker. Okay, should I repeat again? I think I have a video later on. Yeah, I have a video later on. In short, you know, first the customer read the user story, or the product owner, they can read as well. The team, the product owner, the dev team discuss together what should be the story point. One give 1 vote, okay? But if the difference is too much, too large, then they need to discuss among the team what should it be, and then they do another vote until they reach the consensus. That's all. That's the planning poker. I think that's all. Let's take a look at the video. All right.
Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to stay updated with Knowledge Hut.
Hello and welcome to Knowledge Hut. In this video, we will be discussing a very popular agile estimation technique called planning poker. Let's begin with understanding what is meant by estimation. In software development, an estimate consists of a quantified evaluation of the effort which is necessary to carry out a given development task. This is most often expressed in terms of duration. The intent here is to aggregate many individual estimates so as to obtain an indication of the overall duration, effort, or cost of a software project. Planning poker is a consensus-based estimate technique. In Agile, it is used to estimate the product backlog. Story points, ideal days, or any other estimating unit can be used with planning poker. So how do you use Planning Poker for agile estimation and planning? At the start of the Planning Poker session, every person in the team holds a deck of Planning Poker cards. Each card contains a value, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 20, 40, and 100. The product owner or customer then reads an agile user story or describes a feature to the estimators. Here the term estimators means the whole team. The estimators discuss the feature to clearly understand all of its aspects. When they are done with discussing the features, each estimator privately selects one card to represent his or her estimate. All cards are then revealed at the same time. If the value selected by all the estimators is the same, then that value becomes the estimate for the story. If not, then all estimators discuss their estimates further. The estimators who selected the highest and lowest value should especially share their reasons. After further discussion, each estimator reselects an estimate card, and all cards are again revealed at the same time. This process continues until the consensus of all the estimators is achieved. When everyone is holding up the same number, we are done. That number is written as the estimate and we move on. But if the numbers are different, we discuss it and estimate again. When there is a tie in the voting between two sizes which are consecutive, for example 5 and 8, just pick the larger size and move on. It saves a lot of time and also saves the team from the perils of running out of time due to an underestimation of the size of the task. If the difference between the estimates is very large, for example 3 out of the 4 people are holding 5 and 1 person is holding a 100, then there is clearly either a product uncertainty or technical uncertainty regarding the task. In such a case, it is better to put the story aside and come back in the next meeting after doing proper research. So this was how you play Planning Poker for agile estimation and planning. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more such informative videos and visit our website for all the Scrum and Agile related courses.
All right. Okay. That's about the planning poker. Okay. I received a very good questions in the Zoom chat, and I would like to explain further as well. Okay. So we got a question. How can we add the story point estimation into the Trello board? Okay. I would like to say that there is an activity in the apply session week 1, and it is in the task 6 here. Okay. All right. I have a tutorial video on how to use the Trello, and what you have to do is that once you just go through this video. Okay. But in short, what I mean is that once you set up the Trello board, you can install this template, the plugin here. Okay. The amazing Kanban project management template. Once you click using this template, it provides a form, okay, for you that this is the template, but for each of the each of the Trello card, you can provide the estimate here. That means at the beginning, you can say what is the estimate of the working hours or the story point that you have to do, okay, for this particular Trello card. And then over time, once you start working on it, how much, what is the remaining hours or the remaining story point that that is left, and you can track the progress of each of the card as well. Okay, so I think what I mean is that this kind of plugin for the Trello is a really good one. It is a starting point, and yeah, I highly recommend you use this one as well. Okay. I will add this one in the lecture for this session as well with the week 3. Okay, I will add this one later. Thank you so much. Okay, for the question, really appreciate. And another question is that who is in charge of managing the planning poker game, or is it by the product manager or project manager or that kind of thing? Okay, I would say that based on the agile practices, okay, I should emphasize that there are 3 main roles. Okay, product owner, and the Scrum Master and the development team. Okay, here to manage the game, I would say that this is more like for the planning poker, it should be a consensus approach. Okay, if we go back, that means, you know, based on the description here, so the product owner or the customer. Okay, so product owner is the how can I say, the product owner is a representative of the customer, just in case that the customer is not there, you know, within the team. So the product owner will facilitate the game, the discussion. All right, but to reach the consensus, I would say that everyone within the team will need to participate. So which includes the product owner, the Scrum Master, and all team members. This is really important. In short, product owner facilitate the game, but everyone within the team must participate in the game. Okay. Is it often better to overestimate how many days needed to complete the task? I would say yes, overestimate is still better than underestimate. But if we overestimate everything, right, we need to be careful about the over budget as well. Let's say how can I say, let's say the homepage, right, we estimate instead of one story point, we estimate 5, you know, we overestimate every task, every user story, that kind of thing. It might lead to something over budget from the customer point of view as well. So that's why, you know, this is another skill, the project management, product management skill, which is not an easy approach. It takes some time. Okay, that's right. So in short, to answer your question, overestimate is still better than underestimate. But if we overestimate every user story, probably later on when we do the budgeting, it might not be cost effective as well. All right, next. Okay, now we're gonna talk about the other estimation technique as well. Okay, this is the t-shirt on the left hand side, you know, and for the right hand side here is called bucket system. Okay, bucket system means that instead of visualize what is the amount of work or what is the story point for that task, now we're gonna visualize based on the concrete amount of story point that we have, but what are the tasks that are aligned with that one. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so this is a bucket. Maybe I should draw something. Let me see if I can get a pen. So this is a bucket system. We have a bucket 0, we have a bucket of 1, we have a bucket of 5. And here, what does it mean is that it just shows how many cards or how many tasks that belong to that bucket. Okay, so that's how it works. That's it, nothing more than that. I never use this one as well. Okay, anyway, all right, that's a bucket system, just FYI. Next, we need to when we do the estimation, effort estimation, right? So I'm gonna talk about why do we need to estimate the effort, because it is help the product owner to plan the project, manage the project, and then it also help the product owner to keep track with the progress as well. Okay, within the sprint, that kind of thing. So we're gonna use the story point to visualize the how many story point have been completed and how much is the remaining, that kind of thing. Okay, and this is an example. I'm gonna explain this one slowly. Okay, this is the burn down chart. This is called burn down chart. And at the beginning, from day one, this is let's say 14 or what is that, 10 days 10-day sprint. Okay, 10-day sprint, 2 weeks, 2 weeks of the 5 working days. In total, at the beginning, this is the backlog. We have roughly 90 hours at the beginning. Over time, right, we project that the progress of the project should be like this. Okay, and this is what happened with the actual progress. So we found that during the day 1, day 2, day 3, okay, we complete a lot, okay, a lot of story point. But during day 3, day 4, day 5, okay, there are something happen, right? So it's like it slow down the burn down chart a little bit, and then we start to keep everything on track and finish everything. This is like how we use the story point, okay, to keep track of the progress within the sprint. And this graph is called burn down chart, okay, burn down chart, yeah. And the curve, the line here is called the velocity. All right. Okay. Yep. Okay. Okay, so your question, how can we generate this burn down chart, right, in Trello? I'm not sure whether we can do it or not. Okay, I will need to find out. Yeah, but you can explore or Google around as well whether the Trello allow us to visualize the burn down chart or not. What I believe is that there must be like some paid feature, okay, that we need to pay. Okay, for the free version, I think we cannot. All right. The burn. Okay. Poll everywhere again. Yeah. All right. So everyone, just go to the poll everywhere. pollev.com/fit5136. And then we're gonna do the poll together. Let me see. I need to skip this one. Where are we now? Number 4, yeah, invest principles. Where are we? Let me think. I'm gonna go back to here. Okay, where are we? Less than a minute. Invest, yeah, we already complete. Why it's not saved? That's weird. Have we talked about the... Let me think. Who typically write the user story? What does that? Did we do this one? What does the term story point? Yeah, I think we haven't do this one yet. Okay, we're gonna do this one, and then we will cover about the user story. Invest principles as well. Okay. Here we go. All right. Yep. What does the term story point refer in the agile estimation? Thank you. Yeah, we should start the question number 4. Yeah, thank you so much, Yeon. Yeah, really appreciate. Yeah. It's Monday morning. Sometimes I get confused what I'm doing. All right. And by the way, we have 43 students attend the lecture today. I just want to say thank you so much for your attendance. You know, your attendance really helped me fulfill my life. Otherwise, I don't want to talk over the Zoom with no one attend, you know. And your active participation is really excellent as well. Yeah. All right, so we have roughly 30 response already. Let me double check. What does the term story point refer to in agile estimation? Yeah, what is that? Okay, let's see the response. Story point, okay, should be the choice C. Okay, should be C. Anyone answer B? Yep, that's right. So story point is not the numbers of tasks, okay, to complete a user story. No, numbers of tasks, that's the task, how many tasks that are required. Okay, not like that. It's not about the time, because story point is not the man hours. Okay, this is a little bit tricky. All right, but the story point is a unit of measure representing the overall effort or the complexity of the user story. Okay, yeah. Is it about the numbers of bugs associated with the user story? No, it's not like that. User story normally is related to the new feature, that kind of thing, not really about the numbers of bugs. Okay, yeah, so the correct answer should be C. All right, thank you. Next one, where are we? Oh, question 5. Okay. What is the INVEST acronym used for in relation to user stories? Oh. What is the INVEST acronym used for in relation to user stories? INVEST. Once you complete the 12 weeks lectures of the software engineering, everyone will become an expert, and you are ready to be a software engineer, product owner, scrum master, you know. Sometimes I just feel that this unit is one of the best unit in Australia. Like, I mean, about software engineering. The content, the lecture content is really modern, very aligned with the industry practices, you know. I don't know if anyone in the unit were a software engineer before or that kind of thing. You can give us some comment and feedback as well, you know. What do you think about the lecture content? Yeah. And this unit, the content is actually was revamped and refreshed just last semester, so everything is really new. What is the INVEST acronym? Yeah, so it is actually the choice B. All right, the goal of the INVEST is to assess the quality of the user stories. All right, well done everyone. Cool. Next, what does the I in INVEST stand for? What is that? Be yourself, you know. You don't need to look at the slide. You don't need to look at the answer whatsoever. Be yourself. Be confident. I am just preparing everyone to be Agile Olympics. I wish we have that, you know. Okay, all right. Let's take a look at the answer. What does the I in INVEST stand for? Independent. Okay. Let's take a look at the response. 100%? No. We have a few students choose the other option. Okay, no problem. Yeah. All right, next one. What is that? Which of the following statement best describe the N in INVEST? Okay, INVEST. Anyone remember what is the INVEST principle? What is N? I, independent, N. Yeah, test yourself. You don't need to look at the slide or that kind of thing, you know. N is okay, all right. I'm gonna review the answer now. Should be negotiable, so the answer should be C. Okay. Yep, most of the students got it right. Thank you. What did I see here? Someone changed the answer. Okay. Why is it important for user story to be valuable according to the INVEST principle? Why? Why it is so important? Okay. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, anyone got the answer? Why this question we cannot get 30 response? But anyway, okay, let's go. Why is it important for user story to be valuable according to the invest principles? I would say it should be choice B, okay? Prioritize work based on the customer need, yeah, okay? Not about the, it helps in estimating the effort required for the development. Is no valuable, is about how does this user story gives value to the customer, that kind of thing, okay? It's about why this one is so important. That's the valuable, the values. It's not about how much effort is required, not like that, okay? Okay, next. Yeah. Which statement best describe the E in invest? Okay, we there are only 6 characters here. I, independent, N, negotiable, V, valuable, and E. What is that? Okay, let's take a look at the answer. I think the answer should be should be D dog. Okay, should be D dog. I think it's about the estimation. Okay, it's not about whether it should be evaluated based on their impact on the timeline or not. That's a little bit too advanced. E is actually stand for estimable. That means whether the user story can be estimated or not, right? And yeah, we need to estimate the user story before they consider before the team consider for the implementation. Otherwise, we don't know how much effort is required for that story. Okay. All right. Also, okay. So we have E already. Next one should be S. What is the S here? According to the invest principle, what does the S stand for? Go for it. Yep, S. Okay, this one is easy. It should be small. All right, small. Yep, it's not about the sustainable. Okay, yeah, it should be small. That means one of the reason why this one E is not the choice A, because A, when we talk about the small manageable task, that's about the S, small. Okay, yep. Okay, all right, next one. Which of the following is an example of a user story written using the this format? So easy. Which one? Super easy. So I'm gonna see the response. The answer should be C. Okay. Oh, thank you. Wonderful. Okay. So easy. All right. Next one. As a user, I want to be able to log into the system using my email and password so that I can access my account securely. Okay, choose the option that best describe is compliance. Either yes or no, either true or false, either A or B. Nothing more than that. You can flip the coin and then either heads or tail. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna review the answer and hopefully, you know, we will get 100% correct. Okay, so actually this one it follows the inverse principle. This is a very good one. Okay, it's clear that why we need the login feature and what is the data property that is required for the login is not really too detailed, not too specific. It looks like manageable. It is independent. It doesn't depend on anything. It gives the reason, the values to the customer because they want to access my account securely, that kind of thing. That's the values. What else? Negotiable. We can negotiate whether we can implement it now, we can implement it later. Can we test it? Yes, we can test it using my email address and the password, that kind of thing. All right. Well done, everyone. Okay, next. As a user, I want a button to click. Okay, so which principle is a story violate? That, yeah. So which principle that this user story violates? Yeah. As a user, I want a button to click. As a user, I want a button to click, identify the principles each story violate. Yeah. What is the answer? Is it independent? Is it negotiable? Is it valuable? Is it estimable? I'm so excited. Okay. Yep, I think the answer is the valuable because what is the value? I want a button to click. What is the value to the customer? Tell me. No, right? So that's why it's really no values at all. This is a very bad user story. Okay, don't write this way. Okay. All right. Next. Yep. As a user, I want a pop-up confirmation when deleting an item. What's wrong with this user story? What's wrong with this user story? Okay, all right, let's take a look at the answer. I think for this one, the problem with this one is that it is not independent. Okay, Anyone got the right answer? Very good. Okay, who got the right answer? Don't change. You guys are too funny. Because it is the feature about the pop-up confirmation depends on another action, right? When deleting an item, then the pop-up confirmation will pop up, that kind of thing. Okay, so it is kind of like a dependent, it's not independent, so that's why it violates the these principles of the inverse. Yeah. Okay, all right, and yep. Okay, what is the planning poker? What is that? Okay, so we got a question in the Zoom chat. I will answer later. Actually, I should answer maybe after the planning poker. Yeah. Okay, so what should be the answer for the planning poker? Okay, is it a card game used to estimate the effort? A game played during the HI team meeting? Okay, a technique, blah blah blah. Should be A. Okay. Everyone got A? Yep. Thank you. Okay. So back to this one, right? The pop-up confirmation. So I think what do we need here? Okay, is that we should talk about the deleting feature. Okay, deleting feature. That means as a user, I am able to delete an item in the shopping cart, that kind of thing, and then a pop-up confirmation maybe is just an action after the deleting an item. So I'm not quite sure whether it should be called as a feature or not, right? Just a consequence action. So maybe we don't need it to have, we don't need to have this kind of thing as a user story, because it doesn't provide any value to the customer. Why do we need to say what is the value of the pop-up confirmation, that kind of thing, and pop-up of what? It's not really clear. What, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I would not write this way. Okay. Yeah. Avoid like the something dependent action, that kind of thing. Yeah. When, after, I will go to log in, after I will go to purchase a product after login, that kind of thing. Avoid. Okay. Is not independent. Okay. All right. Next, where are we? What is the purpose of the prioritizing the user stories? What is that? Okay. Actually, we have roughly half an hour left, so we need to speed up a little bit. Okay. All right. Go. Be quick. What is the purpose of the prioritizing the user stories? Okay, the answer is that, based on the agile values, I think we should ensure that the most valuable features are developed first, right? That's the agile values. Okay, this is the correct answer. All right, next. Whoa. Hang in there. What is the purpose of the acceptance criteria in a user story? Yeah, so you know yourself whether you got the 100% correct or not, for each of the week. What is the purpose of the acceptance criteria? Okay, be quick. I'm gonna review the answers in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the answer should be choice B, to define the boundaries of the user story and determine when it is complete. Okay, next. Yep. What is the definitions of done? Maybe I will talk about it quickly. Acceptance criteria. Yeah. Because I have only half an hour, I will go through it quickly now. Acceptance criteria is actually it is used to define the boundaries of a user story, and it is used to confirm whether the software is working as intended or not, right? When the user story is completed, okay, in a simple word, it is like the criteria to test the user story, whether it is implemented as expected or not. Let's take a look at an example. For a smart home application, one of the user stories could be, as a homeowner, I want to be able to dim or brighten individual light globes so that I can create my ideal lighting scene, that kind of thing, okay? And the acceptance criteria for this user story could be that, okay, first the user will select a globe and then see this wheel. This wheel should use a slider control so that the user has the full range of the brightness levels available to them. When opening this wheel, the initial slider position should reflect blah 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 blah. The time for a light globe to respond a change made by the user should be no greater than 1 second. Okay. This is an example of the acceptance criteria, yeah, which include so many aspects. All right. Another more example. Okay, let's say we have user story. As a customer, I want to check the balance of my bank account so that I perform the transactions, that kind of thing. Okay. Acceptance criteria could be that customer log in before checking balance for all account is displayed, that kind of thing. I would say that the examples on the right side is not really is a little bit problematic. Okay, what I want to say here is that so that I can perform transaction is not really clear to me. Okay, what do you mean by perform the transaction? And the acceptance criteria, they just too brief. They just log in and balance is displayed. It's not really detailed enough, right? But if we look at the example 3, okay, this is a better version. As a customer, I want to transfer money from my account to another bank account so that I don't have to go to the bank for making such transaction. Is it valuable? Yes. We know what is the value. This is the purpose of the online banking, right? And how to test it? First, log in. Second, the system check whether they have enough money or not, they can transfer or not, whether the local account balance is updated, that kind of thing. Okay, so this is an example. What is the definitions of done? Acceptance criteria, just like like how do you test it? Okay, but the definitions of done is the criteria. Okay, the criteria. What is the general? It determines the general requirement for testing and the QA. We will not assume that the user story is considered done until the end users accept it. Okay, so that's why we need to write the definitions of that. And each project needs a definitions of done, blah blah blah. This is an example. Okay, let's say this is a Monash learning management system, and we come up with the vision, right? We want to blah 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 whatsoever. And the goal is to increase the student engagement and the improve learning outcome by 20%, blah, blah, blah. And this is the outcome. What would be the expected outcome? We can come up with the epics and the theme. We have different features, right? The epic is like, first, enhance learning experience. The epic involves redesigning. This is what are the things that we need to do. What is the aim? Okay. For each of the epic, it has multiple features that are aligned with the epic. Enhance learning experience. To enhance the learning experience, we're going to have like 2 features: streamlining the course creation and the personalized learning pathway. Then we can create the user story. The first one about the streamlining course creation. Okay, as an educator, I want to be able to blah 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 blah, so that blah 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 blah. Okay, and then we have some bullet point about the acceptance criteria as well, how to test this user story. And this is the same for the feature 2. The ideal user story, you should capture different various roles. As an educator, as a student, it's not just like you say, as a user for everything. Because in real world, user can have many roles, right? Is it like just end user or the admin. The admin is still the user of the system. Who are the users of the system? You need to be really specific as well. Okay, that's the Moodle LMS, but once you have the user story, how can we determine whether this is considered done or not? Okay, you have the acceptance criteria that is associated with each of the user story. This is about how do you test the system, acceptance testing, that kind of thing. All right, but about the definitions of done, it means that it should achieve the test coverage greater than 80%. The linter tool, the static analysis tool should not reveal any warning, that kind of thing. The code should be reviewed by the other team member. Once all of these criteria is met, then we will consider that user story is done. Okay. All right. Okay. Back to the Pro EV again. Here we go. Okay. Yep. So what is the definitions of done in the software development? Okay, so what is the definitions of done? A document outlining the task to be completed in a sprint, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's review the answer. Okay, the correct answer should be a checklist of criteria that must be met for a product increment to be considered complete. Okay, that's the definitions of done. Well done. Okay, all right. Next, how does the definitions of done relate to the user stories? Okay, let's take a look at the answer. Should be C. Yeah, should be C. Yep, that's right. Okay, all right, no problem. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the lecture. Okay, that's the definitions of done. One last thing I should mention, okay, is that about the usability design principles. Okay, so when we get the requirement, then we need if you remember for the week one we talk about the rapid digital prototype as well. This is how we do. Okay, but how can we ensure that the design that we have is actually good? So these are the principles that probably you should align with as well. Okay, so when we talk about a prototype, it is like an early sample of a product built to test a concept or to act as a thing to be replicated or learned from. Okay, this is a prototype. It's not a complete version. We are talking about a prototype. And in the real world software industry, prototypes are mostly the code screen or the wireframe. You can use like, basic UI, an examples of the UI template. You can use Figma to draw the prototype, that kind of thing, or use the wireframe. That shows how the whole or most of the software will look like, what is the flow of the usage scenario, that kind of thing. And there are different types of the prototype as well. You can use the paper, okay, sketch on the paper, or you can use the wireframe as well. Use the tool. You can use the visual design, or like Figma, or you can code it, okay. But it will take some time if someone who are not experienced in that. But at the end of the day, there are some principles that we need to be aligned. or ensure whether the designs are actually good or not. Okay, and the two principles that are very common is called Donald-Norman or the Ben-Shneiderman. Okay, so first, Donald-Norman design principles. These are the principles for the Donald-Norman. First, visibility, affordance, constraints, cognitive aid, transfer effect, and the natural mapping. What does it mean? Visibility, it means that relevant objects should be in view and obvious to recognize. Okay, for example, if you want someone to download the Grammarly, that's why we need to highlight the button here in red, right? So it is like clearly visible to the end user. Okay, visibility is a key important. Okay, the purpose of this Grammarly tool here is that we want everyone to install, okay, the plugin, and then that's why they emphasize this one, make it really more visible than the others. Okay, this is a visibility. Affordance is about the appearance of an object should indicate how it should be used, right? Okay, a button that change color when hover over to suggest that it can be clicked. This is an example. This is about affordance. Okay, an icon of a trash can that suggest that it can be used to delete files or content. Okay, so let's say you in either Ubuntu, Mac, or Windows, right? If you want to throw the files into the trash, would you use like the other icon rather than the bin? Probably no. That's why they use the bin, okay, as a indication of this is the trash to delete the files, that kind of thing. All right. A toggle switch that suggests that it can be used to turn something on or off, right? Toggle the volume, the knob, that kind of thing. That's about the affordance. Constraint. We want to limit the possible actions of an object to prevent the user making errors as much as possible. That's why when you type the password, these are the constraints that must be met. Okay, for example, having at least one lowercase, having at least one capital letter, that kind of thing. The password already prompts immediately, right? Rather than just only keep saying your password is wrong, your password is not strong enough. It doesn't help anything, right? That's why the constraint, it should be really visible to the end user. Make sure that they knows what they need to do. Okay, what they need to do, the suggestion. Cognitive aids and the feedback, right, is about the external representations intend to gain our attention. You know, when you want to alert something, so that's why you have this kind of thing. It's about the visual, how can you create the attention from the end user. Okay, that's the cognitive aid. Consistency, very, very important. You want to when you can have like multiple versions of the window whatsoever, but it should be consistent. It should not like have like a new learning curve, that kind of thing. And then throughout the software, let's say this is a window view, right? Normally you use like square or rectangle, but let's say for the other button it becomes like a triangle. That is weird, right? Because it's not consistent. That's why we need to be consistent in everything when we design. Okay. All right, natural mapping, laying out screens to better represent their function. When we talk about the brightness and the volume, it should be up, down, that kind of thing. When we move the car, okay, the positions of the car, so they lay out the button into the car shape, that kind of thing. Okay, this is an example of the natural mapping. We map the functionality of the software system or the things that we want to design, okay, to the natural. Okay, all right. The video, I think I should skip because I'm aware of the time. The next one, previously I talked about the 6 design principles for the Donald-Norman. Okay, now we're gonna talk about the Ben-Shneiderman 8 golden rules. What are they? Okay, first we need to strive for consistency. Oh, the same. Okay, consistent user interface. Okay, cater to universal usability. Okay, we want to cater for all range of the users, age, disability, sex, gender, that kind of thing. We don't want to design the application that is when the button is extremely small and the elderly cannot really use it, or we don't want to design the color of the application that is like too I don't know, too dark or too that kind of thing. Or we should care about the blind people, the color scheme, you know, that kind of thing. This is something like about the universal usability, okay? Offer informative feedback. We want to give the user feedback of their action, like green, tick, sound, highlighting, that kind of thing, okay? We want to design the dialogues to yield closure, okay? What does it mean? We want to provide the feedback or the warnings at the end of the action as well, so they know that we are about close to the end, okay? We should design the UI to prevent the errors as much as possible. Think about the password prompt, that one, okay? We should permit easy reversal of actions, right? So offer an easy way where possible. Change of mind, unsubscribe, that kind of thing. Think about we create like a online shopping cart. Oh, we add 10 items into the shopping cart. Oh, I don't want the item number 9 anymore. Okay, there I cannot reverse the action. What do I need to do? Throw everything there into the bin and then start the new shopping cart again. This is not a very good design. Okay, ideally there must be a button that we can just remove an item from the shopping cart. That's it. We should support internal locus of control. Okay, we give the user a sense of control. Let the user initiate or control the action. Okay. We should reduce the short-term memory load as much as possible. Don't make navigation or tasks excessively complex. Like for example, if you want to just purchase something, and then there's no search button, that kind of thing, you know, and then later on you need to browse the categories, and let's say you have like 10 layers of the categories, starting from, you know, fresh produce, okay, animals, pork mince, and then the size are small, medium, and large, you know, it's like too many layers, it's a bit excessively complex, right? So it's not a good design, okay? All right. That's the Ben Schneiderman golden rules, okay? I think that's all. I'm gonna go back to the questions in the Zoom chat a little bit, okay? I'm gonna go through one by one. It is really important. So the first question is that for the independence question, okay, can I divide the story to user story, okay? For example, I want to be able to delete an item. I want to have a second confirmation when I do an important action. Potentially yes and potentially no, okay? What I mean is that when we say delete an item, I would say, I suggest we need to add the value. What is the benefit, okay? For the delete, I think this one is good, okay? Add the benefit a little bit. For example, as a blah blah blah, I want to be able to delete an item in the shopping cart, make it more detailed, so that I can change my mind whatsoever. I want to have a second confirmation. This is quite vague because I don't know when this user story will happen, right? Another one, can I say as a user, I want to reconfirm when deleting an item. I would avoid, okay? Because this is an dependent action. They need to delete an item first and then they can reconfirm, that kind of thing. And when we say reconfirm, it's not really the feature. My point is that can anyone implement this user story or not? When we say reconfirm, what does it mean? Okay, it's not clear. C and D, okay, no. Our project will be based on the text, so how to show how our system adhere to the Schneiderman principle. Yes, make sure that the text-based design aligns with the Schneiderman principle. You just decide the layout, the flow, you know, it is possible, yeah. Yep. Okay, do I answer everyone? And the text-based program, what I mean, you know, is that, let's say this is a text-based program, the terminal, okay? You input something, blah, 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 okay? And then it prints something, okay? And then another prompt, you know, blah, 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 it prints something. So that's about the design, that it must be aligned with the design principle. Menu option, that kind of thing, okay? All right. the most important question. Next one, the quiz. Okay, we are nearly there. Next, only 3 more questions. Okay, definitions of done. Okay, can everyone go to the quiz? The most important question here. Okay, how's the lecture today? It's a bit rush at the end, but I think it's not at all. Okay, we cover everything. Today we talk about the user stories, we talk about the acceptance criteria, we talk about the definitions of done, we talk about how to estimate the story point, how can and what is the user design principles, the 2 principles, Donald Norman, the Ben Schneiderman. We want to make sure that the design that you have, the digital prototype as part of the assessment one, actually align with the design principles as well. You know, it is easy to use, that kind of thing. You will do it, okay? And if you have any questions, feel free to post on ED, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the week, okay? Thank you so much for your attendance and your active participation. Really appreciate, and see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.